We got it.
Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, September 17th regular called board meeting for the Colleton County School District. I would like to welcome everyone this evening as well as call our meeting to order. I invite you all to please stand for the invocation followed by the pledge.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, as we see and feel the beautiful changes in the season from summer to fall, we welcome this cooler weather that you have brought us, and it reminds us, Father, that you are ever mindful of us and our needs, and you are in control. Father, your word tells us in Ecclesiastes that for everything there's a season and a time for every activity under heaven. And we are also reminded, Father, that though the seasons change, you never change. You are always good. You will never leave us nor forsake us. Father, thank you that in James you tell us that you are the Father of light, with whom there is no darkness, nor change, nor variation. We stand on your word tonight, Father, according to Psalm 91, that he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall remain stable and fixed under the shadow of the Almighty, whose power no one can withstand. And we will say of the Lord, he is our refuge, our fortress, our God, and on him we will lean, we will rely, and on him we will confidently trust. We pray all of these things in your precious name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Cottageville Elementary flag team is unable to join us this evening, so I'm going to call upon Board Member Daryl Irwin to recite our mission statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleton County School District will prepare every student to graduate with a 21st century education to be globally competitive for their chosen college and/or career path.
I thank you, Mr. Irwin, and we look forward to having the flag team join us at a later meeting. Do we have the civility pledge, please? Thank you. Board members, if you'll join me in reciting our civility pledge. I pledge to build a stronger and more effective school board by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of my school district. I thank you. Please allow the record to reflect that we have 5 board members present. Ms. Jones and Ms. Stivender are not with us this evening. Also joining us via phone is our attorney, Allison Hanna. Ms. Hanna, can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you. At this time, I'll ask for a motion, please, to approve this evening's agenda.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the agenda for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 regular board meeting as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve this evening's agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Board members, at this time, I'll ask for a motion, please, to approve the minutes for August the 20th, September the 3rd, and September the 10th as presented.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting August 20th, 2024, the special board meeting on September 3rd, 2024, and the committee of the whole meeting on September 10th, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Board members, tomorrow evening, September 18th, we will meet with the South Carolina School Board Association for the Low Country Regional Advocacy Meeting. This meeting will take place at Whale Branch, and we are looking forward to meeting with other school board members as a strategy session to share our story and to learn how other school board members are addressing the issues within their districts. Is there anything anyone would like to add to this meeting that is scheduled tomorrow? Thank you. Also, this Friday, September the 20th, the school board will be touring our facilities, and we look forward to dropping in to see our students and staff. So if you see us, that's what we're doing. We're coming to see you this Friday, and we look forward to some camaraderie with our staff, as well as just checking in on facilities and seeing some smiling faces. So look for us all this Friday, the 20th. Finally, I wanted to present some information about a recent Colleton County School District mill increase that was requested to Colleton County Council. There's a lot of information, and so I wanted to share our story as to what we did, why we did it, and the results of that request. The Colleton County School District prepared and began preparing our budget last spring, and we met various times throughout the spring in preparation for that budget, and learned that we would have some increases to that budget. We also met with Colleton County Council and provided them some updates about what was going on in our school district, and we met with them in March and April. Finally, in May, as we began to learn more about what was going on in the state legislature, specifically House Bill 1631 was about to pass and eventually was approved by the Senate. And that increased our teachers' salaries to $47,000 across the state. And this was a mandate that was passed by the state legislature and put into effect July 1st of this summer. It also increased the step increases for our teachers' salaries, and so those individuals up to year 28 would see an increase in salary. Obviously, too, all of our certified staff, according to this legislation, would receive an increase in pay determined by our state. And what they did was looked at the years of experience, as well as the level of education, and for each cell determined what the salary increase would be. The state mandated and told us how we would increase these salaries, and they provided 75% of the funding for these salary increases. They asked that 25% be created from the local revenue. And so as we began preparing and finalizing our budget, we did go to Colleton County Council on May the 7th and presented to them what our needs would be. And then followed that, there were some questions by the council that the school district provided answers to. And on June the 18th, a resolution for 2.5 mills was passed with the first reading from Colleton County Council. Still, again, there was additional questions that the county council had. We met on July the 15th in a joint meeting, and the meeting minutes can be provided on the county's website, as well as the YouTube channel of the Colleton County School District for reference. And then August the 27th, the increase of millage was met with opposition in a public hearing, and ultimately the resolution failed. Just wanted to share some information about that millage and what that would go to. The value of a mill, we were told, in Colleton County is $223,000. The 2.5 mills was determined by Colleton County Council. We went to them with our needs, and currently the salary increases to Colleton County School District because of the mandate from the state was approximately $1.7 million. The 2.5 mills was determined by county council, and that again had an affirmative first reading, but that 2.5 mills would have given a local revenue increase of approximately $500,000. I'd like to note that funding for school operations does not come from residential property taxes, but from business, industry, vehicle, and non-residential properties in Colleton County. I just want to state that we will continue to fight for our children and acknowledge that the greatest asset that we have in our district is our staff always. This is not a discussion topic. I just wanted to share this information to you all. But I also want to be able to say that this board and any staff member is happy to let you know why we think this would have been a good thing for Colleton County. I would be remiss if I didn't ask the staff involved, as well as the board members that went before Colleton County Council, if they have anything to add to what I've just provided. Board members?
Ms. Wicken, Chair Wicken, I'd like to thank you for providing that summary, and I wanted to add that many of us also petitioned our state legislators, to do as much as they can for rural districts like ours to help us in a greater way to fully fund that mandate. So some of us traveled to Columbia, some of us made emails and phone calls to try to get more than the 75%. From the state budget, and I think we need to continue to do that as a community. And we also are working hard to balance our budget and look at how our budget is developed so that, we can do our best to do what's right for the children and the staff.
And is there any other comments from staff?
I would. Thank you, Chair Whitkin. Thank you for your comments as well. And I just want to say that, in light of the fact that our request failed, we will continue to work towards gaining support from our community officials and from our community members, to just build that faith that our school district is doing what they need to do and doing more in order to make our students successful. So I just wanted to let everyone know that we do appreciate the efforts of our teachers. They work very hard each and every day to educate the students of this community, and we will continue working to gain that support of our community officials and our community members. There are some things that we're planning to do. Some of those things include starting a parent forum, which we will have our first meeting on this coming Monday evening, just to talk to our parents about, how can you get more involved in your child's education, and what can you do to help us to, just market our district more and talk about the great things that we have. We have great things going on at all of our schools, and our mission is to make sure that we get those great things out so that people are aware of, the Arts Now initiative that we have in 3 of our elementary schools, the STEM labs that we have in 3 of our elementary schools, and lots of other extracurricular activities and different things that our students can take advantage of. So we will just continue working and continue doing our best for our students and our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. At this time, we'll have recognitions by Ms. Williams for students. Every member of Team Colleton works for kids and makes important contributions towards becoming a world-class school system is the core value represented in today's recognitions. Looks like we have some technical difficulties. Just a second.
Thank you, Mr. Humphreys, and thank you, Chair Whitkin. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you tonight to recognize our students for their awesome accomplishments. And I see that we have some of our students here, and we also have parents here. Thank you all so very much for coming so that your students and your children can be recognized tonight. So tonight we do have 4 students who are here to be recognized, and I am going to start with our student from Bells. So as I call your name, I would like for you to come forward, and then I'm going to read the great things that your principal and teachers have written about you, okay? All right, the first student is from Bells Elementary School, and we would like for Anila Stevens to come forward. Give Anila a round of applause. Anila is a 3rd grade student. Okay, thanks. Anila is a 3rd grade student at Bells Elementary. She is a smart and caring student. She puts 100% into everything that she does. She is super helpful with her teachers and her classmates. She is full of personality and energy. She excels academically and works hard to surpass the goals that are set for her. She goes above and beyond to make every day a great day. So let's give Anila Stevens another round of applause. Awesome job. And you've got a cheering fan back here, too. Yes. All right. Our next student that we're going to recognize is from Blackstreet Early Childhood Center. And that student is Jackson Sheehan. Did I say that correctly? Sheehan. Jackson Sheehan. There you go. And while Mr. Jackson is coming up, Jackson is a pre-K student at Blackstreet Early Childhood Center. And Jackson is always in a good mood, and we can see that tonight. He's always in a good mood, and he's friendly to others. You can always count on Jackson to make you smile. So let's give Jackson a round of applause. And I would like to go back. Anila, if Anila's parents are here, please stand so we can recognize you. Thank you. And also, I know Jackson's family came up with him, but if you would please stand for us too, Jackson's family. Our next student is from Cottageville Elementary School, and her name is Mina Cruz. Come on up, Mina. Mina is a 5th grade student at Cottageville, and she is a member of the flag team. She takes pride in her work. She assists younger students in getting to class. She welcomes and greets everyone with a smile, hug, and a positive word. Let's give Mina another round of applause. And our next student that we're going to recognize tonight is from Hendersonville Elementary School, Mr. Freddie Rodriguez. Come on up, Freddie. Freddie is a 5th grade student at Hendersonville, and Freddie wrote his new international teacher from the Philippines a welcome to Hendersonville letter in her native language. Awesome. He wrote it in her native language. So let's give him a round of applause. Awesome job, Freddie. I'm going to ask if Freddie's parents would please stand. And Mina's parents, thank you. Mina's parents, please stand. Oh, there you go, Miss Morrow. All right, so we have one additional student that we're going to recognize tonight, and this student is Harley Thomas from Northside Elementary School. Harley, are you here? Well, let me tell you about Harley. Harley is a 4th grade student at Northside, and Harley received a letter from the state superintendent, Miss Ellen Weaver. And do you know why Harley received the letter? Well, she received a letter of congratulations on her incredible academic performance on the 2023-2024 SC Ready test. She made a 100. She scored 100 on the SC Ready, and this is what was told to her. This accomplishment places you in a distinguished top 1% of students statewide who score a perfect score on the SC Ready test. Perfect score. Your diligence and perseverance has paid off with exceptional results. It is this kind of hard work and dedication that will undoubtedly take you to greater heights. Congratulations, Harley, for setting such a high standard of excellence for yourself. Let's give Harley a round of applause. And I see Harley's principal back there too, cheering Harley on. And I want to ask if Harley's parents are here, if you would please stand as well. Awesome, awesome accomplishment. So we want to get a picture first, and then we're going to let you shake our board members' hands. Okay?
You got a little buddy.
Yeah.
You got a little buddy.
Oh, you took off. Took off.
Congratulations. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Such an awfully nice thing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Nice job, Robert.
Keep it up.
Congratulations. School, that's where I grew up. And my mom's still there, right by your school. Hendersonville.
I need to tell you that. You can teach me. Okay. Congratulations.
All right, let's give our students one last round of applause. Thank you.
I thank you, Ms. Williams, and thank you for those wonderful recognitions. Ms. Hyman, do we have any public input? Board members, do we have any unfinished business? Under new business, we are this evening to determine the delegate for the South Carolina School Board Association. Our school board will identify one individual who will be present for the delegate meeting December 6th through 7th. Is there any nominations?
Madam Chair, since Trustee Irwin represented us so well last year, I would like to nominate him if he would be available to attend that meeting in December to represent us one more time.
Accepted, Mr.
Yes.
Irwin? And is that a motion, Ms. Stribble?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded for nominating Mr. Darrell Irwin as our South Carolina School Board Association delegate at the Assembly December 6th through 7th. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. I thank you. Policy, Mr. Irwin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, before you, you should have received the policies that our policy committee looked at. I'll just briefly go over these and draw your attention to. The first one is policy BE regarding board meetings. If you would look under the section titled regular board meetings, the third paragraph, it is just that last sentence that we are looking at amending the language simply so during our committee of the whole meetings that if action is necessary, that can be taken at our committee of the whole meetings. We do want that to be a rare occurrence. We never want our committee of the whole meetings to become just regular board meetings on a different night. So we do want the action to be only under time-sensitive situations or personnel matters, but we do want to change that language there. So if you have any questions or comments about that or about that policy, I'd be more than happy to take them.
Do we need to make a change in the agenda when we do that?
So the wording now that has been proposed says, generally no official action may be taken except for time-sensitive personnel or other unique situations as specifically noticed on the agenda. I think there has been some talk to change that word notice to referenced on the agenda, and then that would just have to take place during that meeting when we approve the agenda to make sure that whatever action we need to take was put on that.
To clarify, that action cannot be taken unless identified on the agenda, correct?
So it's my understanding, and I think we have Ms. Allison, just for clarification, before approval of that agenda, we can amend that agenda to include that action.
This is Allison. So the agenda would be sent out just like normal, at least 24 hours in advance, and it would have a notice that there might be action taken, and then you would approve the agenda or not when you start the committee of the whole.
Thank you for
But yes,
clarification.
it would be approved by the board at the beginning of the committee of the whole meeting.
So are you making a motion that we accept first reading, Ms. Trustee Owen?
I was not making any motions, but I'm more than happy to if that's what we want to do. I was just presenting them. I was really hoping another board member would make a motion.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the amended language for policy BE?
I make a motion that we approve the first reading with that reference that Mr. Trustee Irwin noted. Instead of the word notice, put the word referenced on the agenda, just for clarification. I so move that we accept the first reading.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the first reading for policy BE as amended. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
And board members, as we continue on, I do just want to remind you, these policy items that we have before us tonight are all for first reading, so we can make further adjustments or amendments to those before our second reading. The next one is item 7.02, policy BID, board member compensation and expenses. And board members, you have this proposed policy before you. It is just simply to more accurately state the money for the board. There is nothing in here about a salary increase or anything like that. It is just simply stating the numbers, and it has been this previous board's practice that the board chair receive an additional allowance because of the additional work they have to do with all of the meetings and stuff. So we just wanted to state that specifically, as it has not been stated in previous policies, and there's been some discussion about that. Any questions on that one?
I make a motion that we accept the first reading of policy BID with the one sentence specified for the amount allotted to each board trustee and the amount allotted to the board chair.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to accept the first reading for policy BID. Is there any discussion? I just would like to add the specifics because I think it's rather important to what the policy states, and that is the board members receive and there's no bikes by meeting. There is an allowance, and the amount is $4,900. This is prorated over 12 months, with the exception of the board chair, who receives $56.25. This is not an increase. If it were, I would recuse myself from this vote. This is simply establishing the practice in writing, so I hope that no one finds my vote to be conflicting.
And as a matter of fact, Chairman Whitkin, this expenses. Actually, our previous policy gave a higher figure, I think of 7,500 that was allowed. So we're really just tightening that up and making that more specific at a substantial decrease than what our previous policy had as allowable expenses.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Policy 7.03 is Policy GBEA Staff Code of Ethics. Board members, our policy committee looked at this one, and at this current time, we are not recommending any changes. I think more than change in wording is more just an implementation, a greater focus on implementation of the policy that we already have. Our policy was reviewed by our attorneys, and they found all of the language to be adequate and sufficient for our current needs. We just need to make sure, and I know Superintendent Williams has already addressed this as well, just make sure that the implementation of the policy is a little bit more in line with what the policy says, and no changes are needed at this time. Any questions about that? Moving on, item 7.04 is policy JICJ, is the possession use of electronic communication devices in schools. Board members, as you know, our state legislature has passed a bill to make sure that cell phones and personal electronic communication devices are as limited as can be in our public schools. And so this is just tightening up some of the definitions and some of the wording in our own policy to make sure that we adhere with the bill that was passed by our state legislature and our governor.
I don't see any like red, language, so can you summarize anything that was changed?
I think just the only thing that we changed, and again, Ms. Allison can correct me if I'm wrong, I think we just tightened up some of the definitions. Some of the definitions in the model policy were a little bit different than ours. But I will, Ms. Strobel, I will try to get those revisions marked highlighted or whatever and send that to the board just so those revisions can be a little bit more clearly seen.
And Mr. Irwin and Ms. Strobel, we can send you a marked up version, but your policy was already very substantially similar to this new policy. The revisions are basically semantics at most. So your policy already was pretty much in line with what the state has done.
Thank you. So we had updated this in 2021, so we were kind of ahead of the curve there, it appears.
Ahead of the curve, I would say,
Right.
yes.
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the first reading of policy JICJ so that we can begin to be on board for January 1st rollout of the state tightening this policy, which we already have in place.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the policy BICJ as presented. First reading. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, Board Member Irwin, I believe from our policy committee that one of the things we were talking about looking at before the next meeting is tightening the restrictions on the consequences that are listed in that policy regarding cell phone electronic usage.
I agree, but I think in here, and Dr. Wright, help me if I'm wrong, I think it says in the policy that it goes by the PDP. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir. But I think you mentioned because it's policy.
That is correct. That was one of the things that if now is the time for whatever changes we need to make as far as the implementation and the consequences that needs to be done. So thank you for that reminder, Dr. Wright. Board members, before our next meeting, we need to make sure that we look at that as far as if there needs to be any changes spelled out specifically in our policy of how those consequences. We did get several items of feedback from our staff members during our policy committee meeting on that. So that is something that we need to make sure is right before we go into second reading.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair, the last policy that our policy committee looked at was policy JLCBD. It is the use of epinephrine and auto injectors. There was some recommended language from Nurse Dingle, and I see she's here tonight. I just want to thank Nurse Dingle not only for all of the work that she does for our school district and keeping our kids as safe as we can, but also her work on this policy to make sure that we were in line with what the regulations that have changed. Those, I have a copy of that's in red that's marked up. I'm not sure y'all's is as well. So you can see that there's not any real changes to the policy other than updating some designations and making sure that we have, this is for epinephrine and Narcan and those kind of things. Any questions about that policy?
Madam Chair, I'd move that we accept the first reading of policy JLCDB, use of life-saving medication. Of course, this is only going to be used by folks such as our nurses and those that are certified to administer these life-saving medications, and I appreciate, yes, the work that's been done so we can have this in place for our students and staff.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to accept the first reading of policy JLCBD as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Ms. Simmons? No. Do you vote in favor? Yes. Okay, gotcha. Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair, that concludes the policies from the policy committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. At this time, I'll call on the superintendent, Ms. Jessica Williams, for her report. Identified under the superintendent's report is the core value of the Colleton County School District. Effective leadership supports learning and optimal performance for all students.
Thank you, Chair Whitkin. Good evening again, board members, and good evening to the public and our staff. My report is pretty brief tonight, but I want to start with just giving you an update on our state assessment data, because at last week's board meeting, you made a request for additional information on how our district scored in the state assessments as compared to the state results. So if you would, first slide, there you go. So on this slide, you can see a historical trend analysis for both the district and the state beginning in the year 2018-2019. So this data indicates the percentage of students who are scoring meeting or exceeding on the state's ELA assessment, which is SC Ready. And you can see that the state averages on the orange line and blue line indicates the district averages. So the state's averages are on the orange line and the district's averages are on the blue line. One can see that our students have experienced similar growth patterns as students across the state. But you can also see that both data points indicates a decline in proficiency after the COVID pandemic. So our trend line looks about the same as the state's, even though our achievement is not where it needs to be. It's not where the state's achievement is, but you can see the highs and the lows are basically following the same pattern. But we are working very hard to get back to those pre-pandemic levels and higher, which we have basically in ELA gotten to that point. And then if you look at our math, the math data looks about the same. But to continue that analysis between the district and state trends, you can see a decline in the 2020-2021 school year after the COVID pandemic. And then the data also shows a slight increase between each year for both groups. However, what I would like to highlight is the increase in math for the district when comparing the 2022-2023 and the 2023-2024 school year. You can see that there has been an increase there. On the next slide looks at our EOC with C or better. So here we're looking at the percentage of our students scoring C or better on their end of course exam. When looking at this data, you can see that our students have positive trends in algebra over the last 3 years. This trend mirrors the state's trends. The trend found in algebra can also be found in biology, with the exception of the 2022-2023 school year. The data found in English 2, if you look at the English 2 scores, indicates that our students' scores peaked in the 2021-2022 school year and did not continue to make positive gains in the last 2 years. The same holds true for U.S. history and Constitution if you look at the data there. If you can skip the next slide, and we're going to skip that slide. Yes, we're going to go to the WIN assessment. So this slide shows the district in comparison to state averages again, and the district outperformed the state in the percent of students earning a level 2 certification, while the state outperformed the district in the percent of students earning a level 3 and level 4 certificate. As requested, there is a link on the district's website that links straight to the State Department site. So I just want to let everyone know that you can go to our district's website, you can click on that link, it will take you straight to the State Department's link, and all of our SC Ready scores are there, as well as our EOC scores. And I think I mentioned in the meeting last week that as far as school designations are concerned, remember I talked about the fact that student achievement is just one portion of our school designation and our school report card scores. Those designations will be made public on October 10th. And I just wanted to say that again so everyone knows, on October 10th, we will have our new SC school report card designations.
Superintendent Williams, for those that don't know, can you just say a little bit more, since we need to really be proud that we exceeded the state goal of level 2 for our career ready assessment? Can you just explain a little more, or one of your staff, what that assessment actually is?
Yes, so I don't think we have anybody here that or Ms. Hedden, do you want to talk a little bit about that WIN assessment? Well, I can talk a little bit about it. The WIN assessment is basically given to our 11th grade students to indicate if they're college and career ready. And there are certain levels that they take the test, and they make certain levels. So there's a level 2, level 3, level 4. And our students surpassed the state's percentage of students who gained that level 2 certification. So we're very, very happy about that. And we're going to continue to work to make sure that our students meet that level 3 and level 4 certifications. And we do have some initiatives in place at our high school level to increase those levels, and we're working very hard, and the staff's working very hard. So I feel good about what we're doing in order to increase those levels. Any other questions concerning the data?
Thank you for showing that we asked for, and the way it was presented was very easy to understand, and we could see the trends, and we could see our math, we need to shout out, was increasing more than the state.
Yes, yes, thank you. Okay, if you go to the next slide. Okay, the next slide, basically, last week I came to you and I let you know that we have 2 days that we need to make up because of Tropical Storm Debbie. So those 2 days on our current calendar would be October 9th and January 7th. And I also asked you, in order to make those days a little bit more seamless, I'm asking that October 8th be a full day of instruction and October 9th be a half day of instruction. So I'm asking you tonight if you would make that vote to approve my recommendation. And also, in your package, you should also have a copy of what the calendar would look like after you approve this. So basically, let me give you, basically the new calendar that's in your packet, does everybody see the new calendar? Okay, I just want to make sure. So the new calendar denotes that October 9th will be a makeup day for August 8th, because remember, we were out on August 8th. So October 9th would be the makeup day for August 8th. And it also denotes that January 7th is a makeup day for August 9th. And that's at the bottom of that calendar that you have. This hasn't been published. This is just for your information. August 8th and 9th will now be designated as teacher work days because our teachers were working on those 2 days. And everything else on the calendar remains the same. So basically, I'm asking for you to approve October 8th as a full day and October 9th as a half day.
So Superintendent Williams, if I'm reading it correct, we already had built into our calendar 3 weather days.
That's exactly right.
We're just making the adjustment for 2 of those with this vote, and we'll still have March the 7th if we needed it for another weather day.
That's exactly right.
So hats off to the calendar committee that, had built in these days. So we already have those days, and the way you flexed it, to me, looks really, really doable. So if no other discussion, I can make a motion. Madam Chair, I'd like to move that we accept the recommendation that Superintendent Williams and her staff have given us and the draft calendar that needs to go out for folks to see, that our makeup days that were put in here for makeup weather will be able to be utilized if we follow the recommendation to make October 8th a full day and October 9th a half day.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded to approve the modifications to the 2004-2005 school calendar as presented, specifically changing October 8th to a full day, half day, the 9th, and inclement weather day, January 7th, 2025. Is there any discussion? Ms. Williams, I just wanted to ask, the question I had last week was, what other district activities would need to be changed or modified? And I trust that those have been evaluated, but I would request that as this information is shared with staff and parents, that we include, any changes for after-school athletic events, any changes that occur, we make that determination as these dates are given, specifically the ones in October. Obviously, 7th of January is not so much of a calendar change, but for most right now, but since that's less than a month away.
We will.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, board members. And the last slide in my report, well, the next to the last slide, I just have a few announcements to make. Just wanted to apprise you of a few things and to apprise the public of a few things. The first one is our school board tour of schools, which Chair Whitkin has already mentioned, and we're very excited about that, and we're looking forward to our board members that are able to make it to tour our schools. Our principals are making preparations. Just want to let you know what that day is going to look like. So when you arrive, our principals are going to give you a 10 to 15-minute presentation on their school operations and their instructional programs, and just give you a brief overview of that. And then after that presentation for just a few minutes, we're going to walk and we're going to visit some of our classrooms and see some of the great things that are going on in our schools. So we're very excited about Friday. And then our parent forum, and I've mentioned that already. We have our parent forum that's scheduled for September 23rd at 5:30 right here in the boardroom. And I want to thank Ms. Tangela Green from the Office of Federal Programs for her help in organizing this event. And I'm looking forward to just talking to our parents and finding out from them, what can we do to lift our school district up. And then the third bullet there talks about a support staff gala that is sponsored by the Sisters in Action, the Ladies of Excellence, and Boys to Men. Ms. Sonia Stevens, who is over the Sisters in Action, she contacted me. She reached out to me and she said that they wanted to do a nice gala for our support staff, our bus drivers, our custodians, and our maintenance workers, and that will be held on October 5th at Colleton County Middle School at 11 a.m. So we invite all of our board members to come out and celebrate all of our support staff with us on that day. And then also, I just wanted to reiterate a letter, and if you would go to the next slide, Mr. Humphreys. I know you probably can't read this if you're far away, but I just wanted you to see the letter that I have posted on our district's website, and I also did an auto dialer. And basically, there's been lots of instances of threats of violence in our schools nationwide since the incident that occurred in Georgia. And, we take student safety very, very seriously in our district. So I composed this letter. Our assistant superintendents helped me to craft this letter, and I want to thank them as well. Just to let parents know, to please talk to their children and their students about, making good choices and not posting threats on social media inciting school violence. I know you know that there was an incident that our local sheriff's department they investigated and they found it to be a hoax. But I just want to express to the public that, we take safety and security very, very seriously, and we want our students and all students everywhere to make good choices because it's not a joke. And I just wanted to reiterate that as well. And that ends my report. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Superintendent Williams, for echoing that, and our SROs and other local officials that help us step into those things. Even when they aren't real, they have to be treated like they're real, and we appreciate their diligence.
Yes.
So, did you want to present the overnight field trips?
Yes. All right, so I have 3 field trips overnight field trips to ask for your approval of. The first one is the South Carolina Skills Fall Leadership Conference, and this is being held in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The dates are October 27th through October 30th. This is being requested by TCT teacher Mr. Brian Wilson. There will be 2 students attending, 1 adult, with a total of 3 attendees. The educational objective for this trip is that students will participate in leadership development training, opportunities to earn their Statesman Award, and they will participate in mock interviews and meet the Skills USA students throughout the state.
Superintendent Williams, that's a great opportunity for our students, and we applaud Mr. Wilson for getting that organized for our auto mechanics student. I'd like to move that we accept, and I did read, and he has all the paperwork in order, and I'd like to move that we accept that field trip overnight.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve overnight field trip 3642 for the South Carolina Skills Fall Leadership as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. The next overnight field trip is to the USS Yorktown. It's an overnight trip as well, leaving March 7th, returning on March 8th. This is being requested by PR1 Hutchins for our NJROTC students at Colleton County High School. There will be 40 students attending this and 4 adults. And the objective is so that they can learn more about military history.
What was the date on that?
March 7th through March 8th, 2025.
Superintendent Williams, that is an annual event, and I appreciate them being prepared in advance for March. The paperwork looked like it was all in order, and I move that we accept that overnight field trip.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve overnight field trip number 3646 to the USS Yorktown by NJRTC. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. And the last trip that I am asking for your approval is the Class of 2025 Grand Bash. This is their senior trip, and they are planning a trip to Orlando, Florida on April 3rd, 2025 through April 6th, 2025. This trip is being sponsored by Ms. Brianne Buckner from Colleton County High School. There will be 50 students attending and 3 adults with a total attendance of 53.
Superintendent Williams, my only question is, 4 days and 3 nights in Orlando, are we sure that 3 adults is enough for 50 kids?
Question 2 is that there's no cost per student.
Let me see, let me go back because they have some other information here. And we can certainly require that there are more than 3 adults, being that there are 50 students. Normally,
That just seems like a lot.
yeah, well, and you're right, but normally the ratio for elementary is 1 adult to every 10 students, and at the high school level, it's 1 to 15. But being that this is out of state and over several nights, we can certainly request that there are more
But even at that,
adults.
we don't hit that because that would be 45 kids and we've got 50 listed.
Right, so it's not enough, but we'll go back and make sure that there are more adults.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the amount per student, let me see if it's here.
Is the student paying for it, or is it a sponsored trip, I guess is the question.
They have the itinerary here, their tentative itinerary. I know that the event is being held at Universal Orlando. It is a grand bash that they have for seniors all over the country. The only thing that I see about costs, it says that we will not exceed $500, but working on quotes to get exact number.
Madam Chair, I mean, this is for April the 3rd, so I don't think there would be any issue in maybe delaying this till the next meeting to vote on if needed to get that cost.
Okay, I can get more information for you and ask for your approval at October's meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Okay. All right, that ends my report. I'll be happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Yeah, probably, Mr. Irwin, do you mind tabling that?
Oh, no. Madam Chair, I make a motion that we table the vote on overnight trip 3661.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to table the overnight field trip pending additional information, field trip number 3661. Any discussion?
Let's make sure that they don't need to know about this sooner, so we can make a decision on this. So that
Okay.
even if we have to call a special meeting,
Thank you,
if they
Mr.
need to know.
Yeah, that, most definitely,
We don't want our
Mr. Murdaugh.
action to impede them from
Right,
doing
because
what
they may
want.
have to make reservations by a certain date, those kinds of things. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Murdaugh.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It got to be. My daughter
Will you introduce HR?
and my son, they brought it from your father there.
At this time, we ask that Ms. Hamilton comes forward with any HR updates.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I do have one update, I'm sorry. So last board meeting, I reported that HR will be doing HR listening labs. I reported the wrong date. because we planned our calendar over the summer, but was made aware that we have a mandatory conference that we have to attend on that date, so our date has moved to October the 10th for HR Listening Labs. Any other questions you may have for me?
So because October the 10th is we don't have school that day, so staff won't be present.
Yeah, so well, I'll get y'all another date.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we keep changing the calendar.
I don't want to back it up until November, so I'll try to get it done in October. It just won't be the first week, because we have quite a few people out, so. Any other questions for me? Thank you for that catch, Ms. Wicken.
Sure thing. Thank you, Ms. Hamilton.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. At this time, I would ask that Ms. Barrett come up with our finance updates.
Good evening.
Evening.
No new updates, but I'll be glad to answer any question that you may have about the reports.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the monthly revenue report that was given to us to review.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the monthly revenue report as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the monthly budget report that we were given to review.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded to approve the monthly budget report as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? One opposed. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the capital project budget that was given to us to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the monthly capital project report as presented. Is there any discussion? I just want to say that I think that we are starting a new budget year, and the projects from last year are still kind of carrying over as the projects for this year are beginning. That reconciling has been a little slow to understand, and so my vote this evening is not in favor of this capital project budget report, but I believe that the capital projects moving forward, along with the expenses, will better in the month of October, and that will reconcile better for my approval. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries 3-2. At this time, I'll call on Dr. Jenkins for the Academic and Student Affairs Report. Academic and Student Affairs Report is represented with our core value. Our core purpose is teaching and learning. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson, Vice Chair, school board members, Superintendent Williams. At this time, I do not have any updates. However, you do have a copy of my report.
Any questions for Dr. Jenkins? Thank you, Dr. Jenkins.
Okay, thank you.
Superintendent Williams, if we could just get included in that report next month, how the State Department is supporting us with the district coach they provide, I would appreciate that.
Sure.
Along the lines of curriculum.
Okay. At this time, I'll recognize Dr. Reed for the ESSER update. The ESSER update is represented in the core value. Organizational development and professional growth opportunities for all employees are essential to becoming a world-class school system. Dr. Reed?
Good evening, board members and members of the Colleton County community. You have my report from last week. I do not have any updates, and I'll entertain any questions at this time.
Any questions for Dr. Reed?
Thank you.
Dr. Reed.
Dr. Reed, just one question. There was some thought that there possibly, might be too early for you to tell, but there was some thought that the state might have leftover ESSER money that other districts could benefit from. Do you foresee that, or is it too early to tell?
Too soon to tell. We're still working on it.
Thank you. I knew
You're
you would
welcome.
let us know when we know some good news.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Wright is coming forward for the ESSER-funded project update and also the operational management report. Dr. Wright is recognized for the core value of a safe, secure, and positive environment will be conducive for teaching and learning. I thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board. One quick correction or an update. Let me rephrase, one quick update. At the last board meeting, I informed the board that we will have our nail and barbering class at TCTC updated by the, or overviewed by the Office of School Facilities. That has been adjusted, and the reason why it's been adjusted is because the air-conditioned system that we purchased through the project failed. It broke. It was under contract, and we had some parts need to be replaced. Mr. Hamilton immediately went to Charleston on this past Friday to speak with the general contractor as well as the air conditioning company to get an immediate turnaround on that project. I am happy to report to you today that the parts for that will be arriving to the district as early as tomorrow, and we'll be rescheduling the opportunity for the Office of School Facilities to come back and complete the inspection of our nail and barbering class. I would also like to inform the board that because it was a part of the project, that air conditioning unit piece is under warranty, and it's not anything that's coming out of our pockets as a school district.
Dr. Wright, can I just ask for clarification? Does that mean OSF did come, or does that mean that they came and the air conditioner failed, so now they're going to come back once we get the ACU?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay.
The latter. They did come, and the air conditioning unit failed, and we found out immediately that the part that was needed to be replaced was damaged, and it was no end of our own. It was all the air conditioning company's fault, and they had to replace it, and it was under warranty. And there was no need to further go through that, because if the testing of the air quality did not pass, the Department of Education was not going to allow that class to be open.
So do we have a rescheduled date for them to come back?
Not as of yet, and the reason being is that we also discovered that the personnel assigned to us for that project most recently on that same day was their last day working for South Carolina Department of Education. So I will be happy to abreast the board when that day has been rescheduled with the South Carolina Department of Education Office of School Facilities.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And last was any updates regarding the canopy project for Bells Elementary School in Hendersonville. The information that I presented to the board last week still stands today regarding the procurement process, and that project may need to go into a hibernation until after we reconsider budgeting and the budgeting process for that project. Any questions at this time, Madam Chair? Madam Vice Chair, members of the board.
Dr. Wright, I just had a question with regards to facilities, and at the high school, our brand-new banners that look so wonderful when you walk in, when you drive into our high school for competitions. I think it promotes school pride and is a wonderful addition to that campus, but the T and the Y is tangled. And it's been that way for a while. I didn't know if there was a reason it was tangled or if there was any effort to untangle it. What's causing that, just so that the spelling is big and bold and correct?
I will give the board an immediate response to this as early as tomorrow,
Okay.
As I investigate the untangle so we can get that thing untangled.
Okay.
I also can say to that we've actually had the company to come out to repair that. What we found out is that when they came to repair, the lift that they had was not tall enough to reach that banner. So we're waiting on them to give us a quick response to fix, and maybe that has a lot to do with why we got that tanglement.
Okay. Got it. Thank you for the update.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
have it.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Wright.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Wright, we appreciate you being with us and hope your wife forgives us for it being her birthday.
Thank you, ma'am. My pleasure.
We have no board member that can join us electronically. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion that we enter into executive session. Upon returning to open session, action may be taken by the board on items discussed during executive session.
Madam Chair, before I make that motion to enter into executive session, I just wouldn't like to just say there was a student in our school district that was injured in a shooting incident over the weekend, and I just want to say from this board that our prayers are with that student and with the family and with that school involved. It was not anything related to at the school or the incident that occurred at the school, but we do want to lift up our prayers for that student and those families. Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we enter into executive session for item 13.01, discussion of employment matters regarding hirings and resignations. Item 13.02, student admittances releases, SE Code of Laws, Section 30-4-70. And item 13.03, receipt of legal advice regarding the Ruffin property.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to enter into executive session for items 13.01 through 13.03. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Please pardon the interruption, but I failed to announce from our student athletic department that our football team won their first game last Friday against Stall High School, and it was a 55-0 whip.
Thank you for that wonderful announcement. Thank you. That's okay. That's all right. There's a motion on the table. Is there any other discussion regarding our entrance into executive session? If not, all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. We're now in executive session. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion that we enter back into open session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we enter back into open session.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to enter back into open session. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. We're now back in open session.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we deny the request for the summary of separations for professional staff separation number 1. And I further move that on behalf of the board, the superintendent be authorized to send a formal complaint to the State Board of Education requesting that appropriate action be taken against employee number 1 for failure to comply with contractual obligations.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to deny the professional staff separation and subsequent action as described. Is there any discussion? Mr. Murphy, okay? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the recommendation for admittance, student number 1, student number 2, and student number 3, as well as I make a motion that we accept the release of student number 1.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the student minutes and releases as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Before we depart this evening, I just want to say again how excited we are to be able to tour our school facilities as board members this upcoming Friday, the 20th, and we'll see you guys in October. Is there any other business of the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Pardon me, Mr. Irwin, did you have something?
No, Madam Chair, I was going to make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. We stand adjourned. Thank you.